Recording. Hello, everyone. Luke of Light here. I am recording a post episode viewing discussion between me and four other individuals. We have watched episode 3 of Volume 6, so spoiler warning off the bat. Anyways, guys, let's get back into the discussion we were having earlier.
Well, right off the bat, I will say that a lot of this episode felt like it had classical mythology roots in it. I don't know if it's because of just generic elements being pulled from the mythology or if they were actively pulling from the mythology, but it felt like they were trying something.
Something or another, yeah.
Like I'll give them props. Like the scenery and the myth and the gods and stuff was interesting.
Yeah, the production value was high on this one.
Yeah.
The romance was it went from being okay to bad fan fiction.
Well, the romance itself is not what led to the whole conflict. It's a lot of other aspects.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm talking about them as two separate aspects. Like,
right, yeah. I will admit the romance is bad, but at the same time, though, let me put it this way. Odysseus's myth about going into the underworld to save his wife. I don't even know we got a romance story with them. We just got they were lovers.
Yeah, he saves her from the tower. He's like, you know what? I love you. I love you too.
Yeah. The point of these type of myths is not the fact how they got in love. It's the fact that love eventually dies or the love is motivating them. If I was to go by the mythical definitions, but I'm honestly not sure if Mouse and Carrie were going for that.
wait, also, let me get this straight. Osmond, wait, what was Salem doing while Osmond was dead anyway? Was she actually engaging in hand-to-hand combat? Because I don't know, it feels like Osmond should have had
to care about her.
Huh?
The Grimm didn't seem to care about her.
Yeah, like, I don't think she's connected to the Grimm. Like,
she just controls the pool.
No, she is connected to the Grimm because of her dive into the pool.
It really feels like Osmond should have had the upper hand in that fight, though.
But she can control them.
No. I think she sways them. She doesn't fully control them. She directs them like a.
No, I mean in their first fight, in the
yeah.
house.
As for that, Salem was walking the earth longer than Ozpin, so she might have learned something.
So why is she losing? I mean, humanity's doing fine, all things considered. Why does she only have 4 people in her cult? She's been alive since literally the end of time and the start of it.
That is a plot hole, I admit. Why on earth aren't there, like, here's the thing. To pull from Warhammer, the Imperium of Man is constantly fighting Gene Stealer cults, Chaos cults, and the like. And Chaos has been around ever since the existence of a thought. So in theory, it should be similar with this. Salem's been around since the existence of new humanity. There should be cults surrounding her. Unless, for some reason, Ozpin dismantled them, which is unlikely.
Yeah, again, they're always saying how they're losing and that they don't have a shot, but what's she been doing? She's had 1 win in how many thousands of years?
Yeah, that is a bit weird. That is a loophole or plot hole.
Oh, loophole.
She is a single cultist. Tyrion's the only one who has the same religious fervor that they did during their first shot at it when they became a couple again.
And come to think of it, when did humanity stop believing in Salem? You think somebody would have documented that? How did Osmond documenting that?
Yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, that's a problem. Again, I will admit firsthand that I'm trying to be lenient and optimistic with this episode, but there are definitely issues.
Like, you think there'd be history books documenting, look out for the crazy white lady.
Well, wait, hold on. I think I could apply some logic from history to this. You know, people used to believe that there was a pantheon of gods from the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon. Maybe Salem falls into that category that people once revered these 2 individuals. It's Ozpin just kind of, through his influence, was able to write them off. Because, like, for example, in Game of Thrones, like, people believed that the White Walkers were a legit and real threat, and gradually magic in general just fell into complete and utter, like, oh yeah, supposedly there was magic, but we have no evidence of it. And, you know...
With both of those examples, the real world and the A Song of Ice and Fire, a new religion comes in and supplants the old one. And
right.
It's like a religious
the fact
on it.
Right, But in this case, humanity became so advanced technologically that they were more reliant on Scientology, Jesus Christ, on science, and
Possessed by the ghost of things.
it became more scientific methods type stuff and less reliant on like mythology, legends.
More the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
The Enlightenment era, basically.
Basically, it
didn't kill religion. It just created a different value structure.
well, think of it more as like an Enlightenment 2.0. Like people relied less on deities, gods, and myths and whatnot, and more on what science could provide them. Like Atlas took control of people's mindsets when it came to that whole thing. I'm just going off on a limb there.
I do admit it is weird that the RWBY universe doesn't have cults, sects, and other minor religions. Like, I mean, hell, here's the thing. To reference 40K again, despite the very best efforts of the Emperor of Mankind to get rid of religion, the ecclesiarchy formed around him. Partially thanks to his son Lorgar being a complete religious fanatic, but yeah, people will always find a religion to latch onto.
Oh yeah, guys, real quick. Why does RT think that having their villains wiggle around is scary?
Once the God of Darkness did that whole thing, I immediately thought of the Nuka-Lave from Volume 4.
Well, okay, I can actually reference something that might provide some context.
Yeah, like depending on how you animated it, it can be a little creepy. But this,
A little bit, yeah.
This is not creepy. This is just silly.
Well,
It was silly. It was silly. It was.
Didn't The Exorcist do stuff similar to this with the?
But that's an older film from like the 80s.
Let me double check. The first Exorcist came out.
But that's a different tone that The Exorcist did. It did like creepy body horror. Like this really wasn't going for that.
Well, with the God of Darkness, I think they were trying to go for some sort of unhumanness with him. But I can see your point.
Back to the whole religion thing. They could, because they're already ripping off the other anime in existence, say that either Ozpin or Salem or one of the other three relics has essentially the founding Titan's memory wiping powers.
Yeah, I thought, that's why I thought the knowledge of the relic of knowledge was a memory wiping, because that's the only way that they could excuse, the gaps in human history.
Well, yeah. I have a different theory about this. As time passes, humanity forgets things that it considers extraneous. As Salem eventually fades from the minds of people, she fades from history. Although that is implying that she actually just stood hidden and only let the Grimm do their thing.
Although something that kind of bugs me. That still kind of bugs me to this day, actually. Why doesn't Osmond just gather an army?
What do you mean gather an army?
Yeah, because Salem literally can't die.
Yeah,
woman's too angry to die.
Just decapitate her.
Okay, here's how I think they can beat Salem. They don't kill her. They use the silver eyes to turn her to stone or whatever, and that's how they quote unquote defeat her.
But at the same time, though, that begs the question of if they want to do that, or rather, if they.
Well, Ozpin clearly wants to, because he asked Jen, "How do I destroy Salem?" You can't. But if you turn her to stone, you're not destroying her; you're just petrifying her.
Okay, real quick. Anybody here? Have you guys played Mortal Kombat X?
I've played Mortal Kombat in the past, but I haven't played Mortal Kombat X.
Well, at the end of the game, the bad guy who's immortal gets his head cut off. He's still alive, but he can't do anything. Just do that to Salem. That's all it takes.
The idea is that they've made Salem unkillable. Like, she literally tried killing herself. I imagine decapitation is something she tried, but they're not going to show it on a fucking, episode of their shit.
Plus the Oz 2.0 versus her fight. She seemed to be a puddle, but then she lighted up and regrew into full shape.
So,
yeah.
In theory, there are ways to explain why Ozpin didn't decide on the debilitate or disable strategy. Probably because through that fight, he saw something.
Although
the chain up strategy.
I will contend that if the gods made Salem unkillable and she's like this being of utter destruction and whatnot, why would they task Ozpin with trying to unify humanity when Salem is clearly going to make that pretty much impossible given her nature? So That's the only kind of thing I'm like, man, the guys are kind of assholes for telling Ozpin to do that. When he's literally a victim of this entire fucking ordeal. Like, I went from hating him in episode 2 to being like, you poor fucking dude in episode 3.
Well, I still think Ozpin is somewhat fallible in this situation.
Well, he's human, yeah.
He probably. This is definitely complex enough that Ozpin has sympathy, but he also definitely caused part of the issue with the whole Salem relation thing.
Well,
Indirectly, at least.
his trust of people, given what Salem did, and the guys saying like, "Hey, if you can bring humanity together, then we'll call it cool and we can come back." And then he goes like, "Okay, Salem's a problem. How do I destroy Salem? You can't." Okay, well, the gods didn't fucking tell me that, so therefore my trust in the gods and in the person I once loved is completely destroyed. So how the fuck am I supposed to trust people? So the dude has trust issues based on his history. So him being this withholding of information makes sense to me just from like a psychological standpoint.
Okay, I'll be fair. This episode did make Ozpin a little more interesting, but it really didn't do anything for Salem.
No, I disagree with you there. I think Salem actually has depth now. Like, she's not just a lover scorned. She found a talent within herself.
Reactionary, revolutionary, and just in general a person trying
well,
to
right.
fight them.
She figured out she's good at manipulating people, and she went with it, and it led her down a dark path. She went from a lover in pain
The dark path
to
isn't her choice. Like she became.
No. She chose to manipulate people, though.
yeah.
chose
She
to,
will.
instead of
Yeah.
learning.
She's like, if
Yeah,
I can
the
manipulate
destruction
gods.
element of her life that was implied because of the Grimpool.
Well, no.
She did manipulate people when she was just immortal.
No,
When
she did in fact manipulate people to try to fight the gods when she was immortal.
The reason she jumped into the pool of the god of darkness or whatever is because she was the only human left on Earth, and she's like, you know what, fuck it. There's nothing for me to fight for or against. I just want to end it. So she jumps into the pool, hoping it fucking kills her. It didn't. It transformed her into what we now see.
But doesn't Jin say it turned her into a being desiring only destruction?
Right.
Lava was an option.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. What Salem wanted when she was uniting humanity against the gods was not destruction, but conquest, conquering of divinity, conquering of the controller.
She wanted to supplant the gods and insert herself in their position. Is what she was aiming for.
Oh, I swear to God, if they go with the whole, oh, you see that dark.
I thought she was going for
pool that she
revenge.
No, I'm saying if they go for that whole, that dark pool that she jumped into made her evil bullshit, I'm gonna be mad.
Well, no, she was
already kind of
she was evil before she jumped into that thing.
yeah, because she
Well,
was
they could
manipulating.
always go back and use that.
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's the thing though. She manipulated people and used them as pawns, and then like once like everybody was wiped out, she didn't give a fuck that everybody was wiped out. She just said, you know what? I'll just gather another army and bring them to your fucking doorstep and do it all over again. Like she saw them as just fucking pawns. Like she used Stalinism literally. She said like, I'll just keep throwing people at the problem until it resolves itself.
Well, she also
Actually,
kind of
come to think of it, how did she get these skills if she was locked in a tower for most of her life?
She probably had a lot of time to practice magic.
Yeah, she existed in an era
So-
where everybody practiced magic. Like it wasn't until the God of Destruction
So,
revoked
mind
magic.
control, then.
No.
No.
You
No.
know what? I am actually not sure. She could be a psyker. That is always a possibility that she's a psyker or something like that.
Well, no.
But
She
it just seems like a mission powers.
She deceived people into believing she tricked the gods into giving her immortality, and she could in turn give them immortality if they could, like I guess capture or destroy the gods or whatever. Like
I'm
she,
just wondering.
her-
I'm just wondering where she got these manipulative skills if she's locked in a tower. for
She-
her life.
she came to that conclusion after she had spoken to both the God of Light and God of Darkness. She realized like I kind of sort of tricked these guys into like doing what I wanted them to do, despite the fact that I omitted or she selectively told them things about stuff, and so she came to the conclusion like, okay, if I apply this to like these rulers, if I could just kind of fabricate a believable story, I can make people do what I want them to do for me.
Well, Jim was really condescending about early man. Like she kept on saying that they were easily swayed and manipulated, but
no, she said that the hearts of men were fallible with Ozpin when she talked to Ozpin as well.
Yeah,
well, the thing is, Salem's offering these people a get out of death card. That's not something that people are tricked into. That's just salvation. Like she's offering them a religious salvation. That's not a open
Well-
to manipulation kind of argument the same way.
Well, the argument,
That's true.
what she's saying by easily swayed is like, they'll believe anything that gives them what they want. Salem was clearly lying to them and was just like,
because
not
no.
clearly. She is immortal. She just lied about the way that she got it. That's not.
she also lied about giving them immortality. She could not, in fact, give them immortality.
Can I just say that it's dumb that they sent Osmond to kill somebody that's immortal without a weapon that can kill an immortal?
Well, they retconned his curse. Like, he wasn't cursed because he failed. He was cursed because they chose him to do it.
Well, here's the thing. I think the curse is meant to be a deception on his end. Like, I think he's portraying it as a curse.
To make him seem more sympathetic.
The big secret I think he wants to keep hidden is that Salem cannot be destroyed. I think that's his big, like, I don't want anybody to know that. Otherwise, I feel like people will turn against me or not do the task that I need to get done in order to unify humanity. Because if I don't unify any humanity, we're all fucked.
We're all gonzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's like this backstory actually seems like it adds some nuance and intricacy that could be very fun.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's like the best thing I've ever seen or anything like that. I'm just saying it's workable.
I gotcha.
It's workable.
Like, it's definite. This episode was definitely interesting. I hate the romance, but yeah, the mythology was very interesting.
I mean, yeah. At first, when I saw the romance, I was kind of like, "Oh God!" Like, you know, lover scorn, blah blah blah. But they made Salem and Osmond very tragic people. Like, they made the gods into fucking dickheads. But I mean, most gods are dickheads in general. And you know, Osmond and Salem are just victims of circumstance, really.
Well,
it just seemed very cheesy to me.
It was cheesy, but at the same time, though, a lot of myths in hindsight look cheesy.
I'm gonna be honest here,
I mean, the romance
about how
cheesy.
most romance in general is cheesy, but that's kind of the point of romance. It's meant to be exaggerated, unrealistic, and all that other shit. It's meant to be portrayed that certain way.
Yeah, but most of them have some kind of charm to them. I didn't really care for this one.
RWBY does have its charm. I mean, Volume 5 aside, RWBY does have charm.
let me just be clear. I've never cared for any of the romance in RWBY.
Yeah, that is relatable.
Although I will give it credit. The romance in RWBY is definitely better than Korra's.
That is agreeable.
You see, that's like not even a fair comparison.
It's really not. No, the romance between Jean and Pyrrha, yeah, that was okay. It was passable. But the thing between Osmond and Salem, I feel like it's kind of like that Greek tragedy kind of deal where both people started off really good, and then they just fell into, you know, this moral corruption sort of deal.
Yeah, with these type of myths, what matters is not how they fall in love, it's the fact that they fall in love and something happens to that love. At least in my opinion. And Salem wasn't necessarily in love with Osmond. She was possessive of Osmond. And she didn't realize it. But as she became more and more desperate to be like, I want him, he's mine, bring him back, and all that stuff, you see how selfish she is.
That's why Osmond left. Salem was really getting into BDSM.
What the fuck? Well, I mean, he was, like, killed and brought back to life, like, 3 times within the span of, like, a minute, so I don't know. I mean, that poor fucker. I feel bad for him just because of that. What's going on? Oh, I'm dead again. Oh, shit, I'm alive again? What the fuck? Oh, shit, I'm dead again. I'm alive again? What the fuck's going on? Stop it!
That is a weird kink. I would rather not have exist.
Also, the original question that brought on the story, what is Osmond hiding? She either showed too much or not enough, because she's very selective in her narration.
Well,
I remember
what I think Osmond is hiding
you think maybe this should have been more than one episode? Like
2 episodes, maybe.
No, I think what they gave us is fine. They made an episode 26 minutes long and gave us this big fucking backstory on 2 of our biggest question mark characters, Salem and Osmond, and they made it a story contained within itself. And it made sense for the most part to me. I don't know if it made sense to everybody else or anything like that, but it made sense to me.
I mean, I liked it enough. It does. I'll give Volume 6 credit. It's keeping my interest.
Yeah.
It's certainly a lot better than Volume 5.
Oh, they would have to try and do worse than Volume 5. I mean, come on now. Volume 5 was just a fucking disaster. Volume 5 was a disaster.
Yeah, that's fair.
But this volume, I am loving this volume so far. Like, I have minor complaints here and there, but for the most part, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Volume is definitely not as bad as it could be.
Like, 8-Man, Addy, and Vex can get wrecked. I love this volume so far.
Well, Vexed, I'm not sure about what his points are, so I can't comment on them. But
Well,
Addy and man, yeah. I mean, opinion's opinion. I don't dwell on it that much.
Hey,
well, don't get me wrong. I think all three are good people and all that shit. Like, I have nothing against them. I'm just disagreeing with their opinions on the volume.
Real quick, do you think we could make a drinking game out of all the dull, surprised faces in this episode?
Oh,
No.
no, I don't want to kill people grinning. I don't want to kill people, okay?
I'm already trying to make a break your news meme.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I'm already drunk. Like, come on now.
No, I don't drink.
Oh, you don't drink? Okay. I drink, but
Oh,
not,
dang.
sometimes heavily, sometimes not heavily, but yeah. I mean, I had a drink earlier, but that was just for my reaction thing, because I have a crow cup, and I was just like, yeah, I don't drink because crows are drunk, and yeah, you know.
I mean, yeah. All I know is that I'm looking forward to what they do, but I'm also going to be realistic about the possibility of failure.
Right, yeah. Like,
Alright,
this-
so
this-
that's one part of the opening down. Now I wonder if they're gonna do Crow next. You know, that whole drinking thing. from
Oh,
the-
where the Grim, like, pull him back into whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is
Will it be
clear.
metaphorical?
That is
Oh,
clear-cut
wait,
foreshadowing
wait,
of his
I
death.
think, guys, I think I have a theory about that. You see, Salem heard that Osmond cheated on her with some other lady, so
Oh,
now
no.
he's gonna cheat on him with Crow.
Honestly, I'm thinking of something a little more sinister.
No, that was actually a joke. That was a
What?
joke.
Yeah, obviously, it was a joke. But what I'm thinking is, what if Cinder and Tyrion both collaborate and kill Crow in front of Ruby, and that fucks Ruby up?
I think it's more likely gonna be Watts, because
No, I
don't
would.
see those two seeing eye to eye.
Well, here's the thing: Tyrion and Cinder have more connections to Ruby than Watts.
They bond over his tail.
They bond over his tail. Cinder's like, oh, "That's a nice tail, Tyrion. Oh, you like it, Cinder? Do you? Well, if you can help me kill Crow, I'll let you have a wag at it. Oh, all right, let's go kill Cinder, or let's go kill Crow then."
Here's his fan affection is really creepy.
You know, if they're pushing Emerald,
It was meant to be creepy.
there's one thing that I am still kind of wondering about. If they're pushing Emerald to the front, what the hell are they gonna do with Mercury?
Doing Mercury in the past volumes.
Yeah, he's kind of been
'Cause
irrelevant since Volume 3, if I'm being honest.
I feel so bad for Mercury. He's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, and he's just there.
Well, I mean, Colleen Clickenbeer is just basically a narrator at this point. And she's
no comment because I don't know.
No comment
Sorry,
because
go
what?
on. I'm not an English voice actor guy. I'm a Seiyu person, not
Oh,
an
okay.
English voice.
Oh, hey, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, Colleen Clickenbeer, she's a really good voice actress, even though like in the case of Urza, I like her character. I just hate her powers because her powers are literally Deus Ex Machinas. Like, ad repeat 'em.
It's because she's Urza.
that's Urza for you.
In all seriousness, though, I am actually kind of looking forward to Maria Calavera. She kind of has just that line about her being, I'm not defenseless, I'm just hard of hearing and blind. I
Also,
admit that line gave me a chuckle.
I will say that I completely forgot she existed until you said that.
I think they introduced her too early. Like,
Yeah.
it's pointless for this point.
Yeah.
I mean, she could be fun. She could be like the sort of Iroh type character, which I won't hate.
But Iroh has a familiar and emotional connection to the characters. Like, she's just there. Like, she hasn't had a real conversation with anyone yet.
They
Well-
should have waited before introducing her.
Well,
Right.
according to Unicorn of War, she was supposed to be introduced in Volume 5, but because they botched Volume 5's production thing, and this is no fault of Miles and Carrie, this is completely on Rooster Teeth themselves, they are now introducing her here instead of in Volume 5.
But, well, that begs the question, what was she supposed to be in Volume 5?
The answer to the silver ideal, because the intro strongly fucking implies that she's going to tell Ruby all she needs to know about Silver
With
Eyes.
with that transition phase.
Yeah. Like,
well, they had that whole training arc that never got finished. Maybe that was what she
training arc. You mean the training arc that was like a segment in one episode in Volume 5?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
I mean, I'm actually going to try to. I mean, I'm still quite interested in the show, so this could be fun.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I mean, I said this earlier, and I think it was like a reaction or something. But The Walking Dead, I am 110% done with that fucking show. It's gone to shit, and I fucking hate it. RWBY,
What show?
The Walking Dead.
RWBY. Not
yeah. But RWBY, for some reason, like, even despite how much I did not like Volume 5, for the most part, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, I thought were really good. Everything else was pretty much trash, barring segments here and there. But Volume 6 has me hooked again. It's like, it's like that love-hate relationship. Like,
honestly, this feels like old RWBY. At least the whole idea of what could possibly
old RWBY, but with storytelling elements that actually feel intriguing, as opposed to in Volume 5, where they were regurgitating the same dialogue and information and all the other shit that we already knew. It's like, okay, the audience already knows. Like, you're not really telling me shit I don't already know. But here, we're getting slews of new information.
Like, the humor's still kind of miss, but yeah.
I mean, I did like the Maria Calavera line because I think that was impressive.
Yeah, it's hit and miss. The humor's still hit and miss, but
the dialogue's still hit and miss in general, if I'm being honest. Like, the dialogue is the one thing that has not gotten better from Volume 1 all the way up to here. Like, the dialogue's still kind of to me, but having Colleen Clickenbeard narrate the story, the dialogue felt a little better, but that's just because she's telling a story, and we're just visually seeing it as she's telling it. Oh, yeah, she's a very talented actor. She's one of my favorite voice actresses ever, like, alongside Jeremy Lee and all that shit.
Cortana, right? It was Cortana.
No, that's
no,
Taylor.
That's Jen Taylor. You're thinking of Jen Taylor.
Oh.
But yeah.
Colleen Clickenbeard was, she was Urza Scarlet in Fairy Tail. She was Hawkeye in Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. She had some other roles and whatnot. I mean, she's been in a lot of anime.
So she at least has a resume compared to some of the RT people.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of the biggest issue that's still prevalent in this volume. They get all these really good voice actors, and then we go back to the RT voice actors, and just.
I will give credit to Lindsay Jones in that she has somehow made the high-pitched RWBY voice work so far.
Well, to be fair, the one scene I remember her doing that worked really well was that little bitty laugh and showing of the present, because that actually felt like
that smile she had was I was just like I was like, oh, that's so fucking precious. I suddenly love RWBY all of a sudden. Saber, oh my god.
So far, I gotta say, the best thing about this volume so far, Nora's actually tolerable again.
Yeah, I mean, she actually came up with a good idea with Ren and John, and she seems like she's kind of funny. Like, the beach episode thing was actually kind of funny for her. It seems like the type of thing that Nora would make. Huh.
I always thought it was the even numbered volumes where Nora was bad, and the odd numbered ones where she'd be good. But
I don't try to do that, but I just saw your joke, Saber. But yeah.
No, it's just like Volume 2, Nora was bad. Volume 3, Nora was better. Volume 4, she was bad. She was kind of bad again. But then Volume 5 showed up and kind of ruined it.
Yeah. All I can say is
random.
I don't know. It's like Nora. I don't want to make this talk about Nora, but Nora's a bizarre character because she's been flanderized and unflanderized over and over.
Well, she started, I don't even know, like, her Volume 1 through 3 incarnation is completely different from her Volume 4 through 6 incarnation. Especially in Volume 5, where she became, I think she was supposed to be the funny character or whatever, but she just
Dull
kept
surprise character. I thought dull
She was-
surprise.
dull surprise
She was
character.
supposed
But
to be the funny one in Volume 2, but she was just nothing more. But
Well,
she was
she-
just kept repeating jokes. Was the problem?
well, Juniper
my thing is
Juniper
that
were
she's become Lord of the Lampshade.
Juniper
Yeah.
wasn't
Which,
really
to be
present
fair-
in Volume 2 until they were there in the beginning and then they were there at the end. But in the middle, it was mostly focused on Ruby and Sun and Neptune.
Yeah, I can see
All right,
that.
so guys, real quick question: who's more pointless right now, Neptune or Mercury?
Mercury.
left the plot officially, so
Like Neptune was always meant to be a side character. Mercury, I think, was meant to be a more established character, but he's felt irrelevant since Volume 3. Or not Volume 3, Volume
Why
4.
did they go to the trouble of getting Yuri Lowenthal to voice him if he's not gonna be important?
That's a good point.
Actually,
Like, did Yuri voice him in Volume 3?
Yeah, he did. He
Okay.
started voicing him in Volume 3.
Okay, Volume 4 he had no lines. Volume 5 he had, I think, 2 lines. And Volume 6 so far he's had no lines.
Volume 5 he had that what are you gonna do line.
Yeah.
To be honest though, it's just I understand where some people are coming from with the hate for this volume. They've been burned too many times by RWBY. I can understand that, but honestly, I want to be optimistic here.
Yeah,
this volume's
I'm
actually
pretty optimistic
not-
towards this volume
not
right now.
bad. Although
Like-
I wish the hands were still better. The hands, I don't like the way the hands look in RWBY.
I don't like the way that
Shades.
they're that in some cases like they have no noses. I mean, that's always been a thing that bothered me about it. And that was prevalent in the old volumes too, volumes 1 through 3. Like, their nose just magically disappears. Like, man, is everybody like fucking descendant of Krillin at this point?
I mean, to be fair, you can make a no-nose character look good. Krillin is actually a pretty decent example. His design for having no nose looks fine.
Oh yeah, and Krillin's one of the best characters in DBZ. But what I'm saying is that like the shadowing of the RWBY characters is typically what the problem is.
Yeah,
At least they don't have the Yamamuro noses.
yeah,
What?
yeah. Yeah, I do admit the
Okay.
cheating.
The
Yeah.
Yamamuro noses. That everybody in Dragon Ball Super had really ugly noses.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't watched much of Dragon Ball Super, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I'm not
you've
familiar
seen
with
the
it.
pictures, right? You've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. Still, I am curious about what on earth will happen with episode 4 once they realize, oh crap, Salem actually can't be killed, and we're going to have to deal with the fact that Ozpin's been hiding this much from us. Like, how's Crow going to react?
I
How's
think
Oscar going to react?
I feel like all of them will be more sympathetic towards Ozpin at this point because they've been building up tension towards him. But now that the truth is out there, they're gonna be like, I want to say they're gonna be like, oh, you like, damn, dude, I'm sorry.
Watch them get depressed that they can't win.
I think there might actually be a mix of reactions. Some of them will get angry, some of them will get furious. Crow will be questioning, and Oscar will be in the middle
Yeah.
of what
No,
the
Crow
hell
will
is
just
going
feel
on.
like, all right, I'm just gonna keep drinking until like reality doesn't even exist to me
Well,
anymore.
Another thing that we haven't been
Oh
talking.
wait,
They
oh, wait,
got the answer. They have the answer of how creation happened.
you think they're gonna go
They
the?
should change people.
You think they're gonna go the route of that one famous Iron Man comic with Crow? Where Tony's drinking problem is brought to the front and center. I forgot what the name of the comic
No.
was.
I thought that was Sparky with a drug problem.
No, the problem with Tony Stark was his drinking problem. It was addressed in a comic. I forgot what the name of it was.
I don't know, but if Crow does start drinking,
Actually,
because of his
actually, now that I
questioning
think
of
about it,
Crow-
if anybody could really sympathize with Ozpin, wouldn't it be Blake, given the whole Adam shindigs?
the whole relationship-
No, I barely call that a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working with what Rooster Teeth has presented us. Blake had somebody she cared about. That person went down a path of madness. Salem went down a path of madness.
If
So
anything, Tai Yang should be the one to talk to him.
actually, that's a fair point, given that one wife died and the other wife just left him. So yeah, that's a fair point.
I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to be interested in seeing what happens.
Yeah,
Well,
that,
it
that,
definitely set up that RWBY is still on Ozpin's side.
Well,
What?
maybe we don't know
I-
until after.
RWBY is
She
on.
said right after the story that the only way to stop was to defeat Salem.
Yeah, but they
At
said
the
that
very
there's
end.
no.
Okay, guys, real quick. If I'm being honest, if they try to relate Blake's relationship issues with Osmond's, I'm tapping out.
That's fair.
I do not care for Blake and Adam, and I'm using this word very loosely. Relationship.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sorry, you finish first.
I was just about to say about the whole RWBY thing. RWBY was the one who actually took the initiative to ask the lamp. So in theory, she's the one who's going to question Ozpin a lot, or at least be one of the ones that questions Ozpin a lot.
All of them were seeing everything unfold. Crow, Team RWBY, Oscar, everybody was seeing that shit. I think even the Maria chick was seeing it too. So,
which is
Yeah,
interesting.
she must be fucking confused right now.
Either she's going to be confused, or she somehow is going to be like, "Oh shit!
I literally retired
yeah,
yesterday, and you're
guys,
bringing this shit to my doorstep. What the fuck?"
I will die of laughter if it turns out that that old chick is that chick that fat Osmond was married to. Or one of his daughters.
No. I think what she's supposed to be is just like a silver-eyed warrior that lost her eyes.
Yeah,
because either Salem cut them out, or because overusing silver eyes causes blindness, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I would actually be curious about what they do, because it's like one of the things in Tsukihime was that using the eyes of depth perception would burn your brain out because you're not supposed to perceive death like that. So what if they did something like Silver-Eyed Warriors, where this power burns you out?
Yeah, like I could see that being a thing. Like silver eyes, especially, just causes you to go blind and whatnot.
I mean, it's definitely cliche. Your power backfires on you, but it's actually going to be dynamic.
Hey, whatever gets RWBY to the eye patch, that's all I'm voting for.
RWBY gets the eye patch.
Punish RWBY.
You know,
Eye for an eye.
Wait, is this Punish RWBY or Big Boss RWBY?
You know, I'm not sure.
It's the Texas House of Representatives member RWBY.
What the fuck? Why?
You guys didn't see that? That Big Boss won a Texas election.
Wait, seriously?
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about? Are you talking about that guy that was running for election that SNL made fun of?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good to hear. But yeah, that SNL skip.
Did he actually have a good platform to run on?
I hope so.
I don't know. I don't know his exact platform, but I do know that when it came to that whole SNL skit, like, people were outraged over it. But he was like, "Yeah, I don't really give a shit. Okay, they said some stupid jokes about me, but I'm more
So
like
he's chill."
Yeah, he's pretty chill. He was more like, "Can we not make fun of veterans? You know, like, where's the taste in making fun of veterans?"
Well, sometimes you have to break taste in order to make comedy, or
I mean,
losing eyes and limbs.
Well,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
definitely a problem.
Yeah, like the joke itself was dumb, it was stupid, but I don't see the point in getting outraged for the guy if the guy himself is just like, all right, whatever. Some people made a stupid joke. Who fucking cares?
Quick, back to RWBY. We got.
Yeah, we're getting diverted here. Yeah.
Oh, going into politics. This video is definitely getting taken down. Either by YouTube or Rooster Teeth.
Probably YouTube.
Unless we upload it to Pornhub.
Yeah, let's just upload it to Pornhub. Or some third-party website. Pornhub is the last bastion of free speech. Somebody put that in the quote channel on this Discord server. Put it there right now.
No,
the Pornhub title will be "Man Fucks Audience" for 6 volumes.
No, for the however many people that actually made it this far into the video, I'm serious. RWBY Volume 6 episodes are actually on Pornhub.
Well, yeah, I'm going to put in the description, like, hey, just have this as background thing, because it's just literally a still image of us just bullshitting and talking about this last episode of RWBY.
All right, anything other to talk? Oh, I think they may have stolen from Ghibli about the God of Light.
So right before we started recording, we kind of got onto the conversation of whether the maidens had been retconned or not.
Yeah, I said, like, if they're gonna retcon that whole old man Osmond part and just have it be the girls and him living together.
Well, I don't think it's a retcon so much as I said earlier, that the whole story of the old wizard in the hut and the four maids that came to visit him is just a cover story for the actual
Nah,
truth
that's
that
the-
his daughters are in fact the four maidens.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
the
they're
impression I got as well.
That's
Hey,
the,
yeah,
that was the
that's a good
conclusion I
idea.
came to.
I
Yeah.
mean, that would actually be kind of cool if, yeah, like it does make sense in this situation.
Like-
that Ozpin
like,
would have created a fairy tale.
I said this off camera for my viewers, but the conclusion I came to was that I looked at it in the same way that True Blood portrayed its vampires. They came up with the garlic myth, they instantly burn to crosses and whatnot to help hide themselves among the general populace. And I feel like Ozpin is doing this with his fairy tales to hide the fact that he's seen some shit, he's done some shit, and shit exists, and he
that
doesn't want people to
created
know.
the maidens.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
Well, no,
is
he
actually in character for
Well,
someone.
no,
like
he
him.
did tell he told Ruby Yang and Weiss that he created the four maidens. He did admit
He
to
didn't
that.
say how.
He didn't say how. That is true. And I feel like
Yeah,
the fairy tale was meant to be a cover for his lieutenants like Glinda, Crow, and all them. So he gave them a half truth essentially.
All he said was, "I gave up a large part of my power for 4 young girls."
Oh god, that sounds so wrong.
It kind of does.
Which also I think might be a half truth in of itself because I don't think he's been losing magical power at all.
Yeah, he could have been hiding the fact that he's losing power.
What was his one question he asked this generation? For
Actually, that is a very good point. The
Um,
genie
he
said,
was 3 when he was a mustache person.
yeah, the genie said that he
He asked where the relics were. He asked how to destroy Salem. What was his third question?
Yeah. Yeah, I find it weird because the generations changed and the genie said, I can answer 2 questions this era.
Yeah, so,
And one has already been used, which
Yeah.
what is Ozpin hiding? What do you think the Ruby
Oh,
team will
no.
ask?
One was already
think they're
used
gonna
when
say
Ruby.
that question.
No. One was already used when
Yeah.
Ruby summoned Jin. So there's
Yeah,
only
another
one
one
question
was
left.
used- Another one is used when Ruby asks about Ozpin. What could the third question be?
My guess is that the villains will steal the relic and Salem will get a third.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I highly doubt they're going to use the third question immediately.
What if she?
I mean, on the one hand,
Because again, they don't need it for the powers. They just need to collect all of them to start Armageddon.
although to be fair, it would seem like Salem to actually exploit the power just for herself.
Well,
At least-
she can exploit it immediately, then wait 100 years. She plays the long game.
Oh yeah, that also being said, we can also now conclude that the floaty person in the trailer is in fact Ozpin and not like a maiden or whatever the case may be. It is in fact Ozpin when they were revered as like gods and deities and shit.
Yeah, but was it? That wasn't used in this episode.
It was. It'll
It
probably be
could've been
brought up
just
later,
cut.
or it could have been cut, or it'll be brought up later. One of the two. Or it could have been allegory in general.
Why did all of Ozpin's versions were the same person as Oscar now? They all have the same voice. Like,
Again, they're going to get. I guess Ozpin just consumes eventually.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and like they'd have to hire like however many voice actors to do whatever, and so
well,
they
just have, like most of them don't have that much dialogue. Just grab someone from the production. Say it's like, hey, do you have 10 minutes? All right, get in the booth.
or
I
or
mean, I
change
would
the
rather
pitch of
they-
his voice or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I would still rather actually they hire real voice actors just because.
For a single episode of less than 5 lines.
Okay, good point. But what I meant by that was I don't want them to think they can get away with hiring low effort
Well,
talent. Or
They wouldn't necessarily even need to hire anybody. They could just have like a contest in house of like, hey, if you win the thing, you get to voice this guy for however many lines, and they're not.
like an activity for the company.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've seen- yeah.
Yeah, just
definitely seems
like
like it would
reward
work.
the animation staff or the post production staff or the storyboarders, whatever. Just do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the corporate structure of RWBY, so
Well, I mean,
I'm good.
it-
So I
it's
just got my game yesterday.
what game?
yeah,
The board game.
Oh,
it's the convolution and stuff.
Well, it was supposed to ship out around July. So
yeah.
And also, I didn't get. I paid money to get a spoiler of a new character, and it was just Miss Malachite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I will be honest. I'm actually interested in the underworld of Mistral now because it's like the way they played her. It's like, okay, the voice actress wasn't great, but I kind of liked how she was acting. This sort of
No, I'm sorry. That accent was fucking terrible.
No, the accent was terrible, but the actual voice lines were okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The accent I will admit was terrible.
I'm not forgive them for naming a guild though the Spiders. There's only one Spiders, and that's led by Corolla Lucifero.
I thought you were gonna say like berries, because that was the first person I thought of when she said, I stopped fearing the spiders because I took control of the spiders, or whatever the fuck she said.
I learned to make them work for me, which, you know what, as a metaphor for how she grew up, took control of the agency, or how she uses it.
But spiders aren't hierarchical. They're not a communal thing. Like,
no, I think it was more she initially feared the organization, then she took control of it. It could be how it's.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I could see it being an allegory.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I want to see how her mechanisms and machinations screw with Cinder.
Well, it's going to end up boiling down to her versus Neo, and then that begs the question if Neo's meant to be the protagonist of that whole story arc, or if Cinder's meant to be the protagonist, which, as it currently stands, it looks like Cinder's going to be the protagonist.
I think Cinder's getting a B team.
Yeah. On the other hand, it would be interesting if Neo actually, in the off time, got picked up by the spiders and decided, you know what, I need a job. Like, that makes sense, right? If you're just flown away and lost your only connection, you're going to find a job.
Yeah.
Oh, or they're originally from
But actually, on that note, though, why would Neo be seeking revenge against Cinder when, in her mind, it should be RWBY that killed Roman, even though she didn't kill Roman? But
Cinder got maybe because Cinder got Roman involved in this whole mess. That's my guess. It might not be the best guess, but it's a guess I would make.
I don't know.
And with that, I'm gonna call it. I have nothing to really add.
We've gone on for nearly an hour, so yeah, I'm willing to call it a day.
Yeah,
Agreed.
All right, well, this was anybody else got anything to add before I end the recording?
Nope.
I covered it all.
Okay, all right. Thanks for joining us, guys, and thanks for those of you.
Make sure to, guys, wait, hang on. Make sure to tip your waitresses.
It's gonna be a run.
I mean, actually knock them over.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God. Cow tipping. Wow. Okay. With that said, folks, thanks for watching. If you've stuck to this point, thank you. We shall see you all next week.